Scrapbooking.com magazine presents the following ATC Adventures article from the April 2012 issue. ATC Adventures – Getting Started by author and artist Judy Kaufman. Welcome to ATC Adventures, a new monthly feature in Scrapbooking.com magazine. According to lore and Wikipedia, the modern ATC, or Artist Trading Card, began in Switzerland as an outgrowth of the mail art movement in the mid-1990s. ATCs are always 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. These dimensions never change. ATCs are traded rather than sold. Artist trading cards can take just minutes to create, or they can take hours. They can be one of a kind or made in a series. Supplies needed are minimal, so it's a fun way to experiment with new techniques. Once you get going, you may want to incorporate pre-cut ATC blanks and/or ATC kits and mix in other materials like paints, stickers, brads, ribbon, stencils, collage materials, fabric, feathers, thread, charms, die cuts, embossing folders, punches, many materials you may already have for scrapbooking. ATCs are a very good excuse for stashing mini memorabilia and found objects. We'll launch into projects next month. For now, gather some supplies and cut some ATCs from standard size cardstock, scrapbook paper, or other materials. Down the road, we'll look at storage and display options, talk about swaps, and much more. To get the most from your materials, use these instructions for cutting 2.5 inch by 3.5 inch ATC blanks. One 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock will give you 10 ATC blanks. First, cut the 8.5 by 11 sheet into 3 lengthwise strips, 2 pieces measuring 2.5 by 11 inches and 1 piece measuring 3.5 by 11 inches. Next, cut each of the 2.5 inch wide strips into 3 2.5 by 3.5 pieces, or 6 ATCs. Then cut the 3.5 inch wide strip into 4 2.5 inch pieces, or 4 ATCs. Hold on to the scraps to use for collage and other projects. A 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock or scrapbook paper will give you 14 ATC blanks. First, cut the 12 by 12 sheet into 4 lengthwise strips, 2 of the pieces measuring 3.5 by 12 inches and 2 pieces measuring 2.5 by 12 inches. Next, cut each of the 3.5 inch wide strips into 4 2.5 inch pieces. This will give you 8 ATCs. Then cut each of the 2.5 inch wide strips into 3 3.5 inch pieces, or 6 ATCs. Again, hold on to the scraps for collage and other projects. You can also use shimmer sheets to make ATCs. A 5 by 12 inch sheet will give you 6 blanks. First, cut the sheet into 2 lengthwise strips measuring 2.5 by 12 inches. Cut each of the 2 strips into 3 3.5 inch pieces. This will give you a total of 6 ATCs. And remember, save those scraps! Another way to create artist trading cards is to select a 2.5 by 3.5 inch portion of a sheet of printed paper or cardstock, or a section of a photo, etc. This is called fussy cutting, a term paper crafters borrowed from quilters. The number of ATCs you can make from any given sheet will vary. Cut a window in a piece of cardstock and use it as a viewfinder, or use an acrylic block to help you choose the section to fussy cut. Use a pencil to draw guidelines, then use a craft knife and straight edge to cut out the rectangle. You can also simply cut around the acrylic block instead of using pencil guidelines. But remember, work on a cutting mat to protect your table. So, are you ready for the adventure? I'll meet you back here on May 1st so we can get started. A printable project card with instructions and a list of supplies can be found by clicking on the step-by-step instructions link within the online version of this article. To find the products featured in this article and shown in these layouts, check with your local scrapbook retailer. Browse our premier retail stores for coupons to a store near you. We hope you enjoyed this article from Scrapbooking.com magazine. For more creative inspiration, be sure to check out all of the great articles and projects in this month's issue.